Hey, my friend, let's talk about 5 different ways you can know that you are going to win even during a recession. Did you know that you can succeed while other people are panicking and flailing and floundering? And there's 5 really simple ways to know if you're one of the people that's going to have an easier time succeeding while everybody else has his panic attacks and collapses like a dying star. The first one is competitiveness. People that are competitors have unfair advantages in all areas of life. Now, maybe you've lost that competitive edge because life has beaten you down and the daily grind of kids and marriage and business and all the things, employees will stab you in the back. Some of them will stab you in the front. I get it, but you got to get your fire back for competitiveness because business is war. It's a mental war. It's a financial war. And the war of money starts in your mind. And one of the mindsets you need to re-unlock for yourself is your competitive nature. I remember when I was a little kid, I got bullied and I was enrolled a year early in my school, in elementary school. And every single day I got off the bus, these older kids would beat me up and I'd run home crying to my mom. So she enrolled me in kickboxing. And so I went, like millions of kids go, to karate class. And I go there and I learn, and I'm timid. I go to my first karate tournament and something really amazing happened. I'll never forget it. I was probably only about 7 years old or 8 years old at this time. But as soon as the guy said fight, and I'm in a tournament, I immediately got kicked in the eyeball by the guy that I'm fighting. And I remember him, he was skinny, but he was like twice as tall as me. And I was scared and I'm gonna fight. And this guy's leg comes up, kicks me in my freaking eyeball. I go flying off my feet, laying on the ground, but there was something different. For the first time, I didn't cry. I didn't do anything except get angry and decided I wanted to fight back. And I think that's a really big deal for you. If you have a small business, you have to have that fire in your belly to want to fight back, to want to compete. At the end of the day, customers vote with their wallets. And you got to remember that recessions don't create failures. They expose failures. They don't create weakness, they expose weakness. And when times are healthy and the economy is booming and people are fat and happy, it's a little bit easier to succeed or skirt under the radar, even though you're not really sharpening your sword. So you got to get a little bit more competitive. The second way you can know if you are going to have an unfair advantage during hard economic times is if you, my friend, have hunger. Any good coach, leader, father, parent knows that the one thing you can never give or transfer to another person is hunger. Some people have it, some people don't have it. If you don't have it, skip the rest of this video, but probably someone like you has a fire in your belly, a hunger. You want more. You know that you're made for more. There's at least a part of you, even if it's suppressed, even if it's buried deep, deep down, you know that you were made on purpose for a purpose, that you have a mission, a mandate, a purpose, and a destiny on your life, and that you can't not try to level up. You can't not. And I understand you get stuck. I understand you get overwhelmed. I understand that you have fear and panic attacks and anxiety and whatever stuff you deal with because you're human. But the difference between people that are hungry and the people that are not hungry is enormous, especially when it comes to an economic slowdown, because the hungry people are the ones that are going to get up early and stay late. They're the ones that aren't going to make excuses. They're going to find solutions. They don't complain and act like victims and say that they need more resources. They're the ones that go become more resourceful and find a way to make 1 + 1 = 3. The hunger, the fire in your belly is a competitive advantage. I don't care if you have $1 in your bank account right now. I want you to be encouraged if you have the fire at all, because a lot of people don't. And a lot of people are going to be exposed when the recession gets into full swing, and you're not going to be one of them because you're going to fight for it. You'll go boots in the ground. You'll go knees to knees, toes to toes, nose to nose, making sales, doing hard things if that's what it takes. And the good news is that there's a lot of people that you're competing with that don't have what it takes to do that. The third way that you can tell if you are going to crush it during an economic downturn while everyone else is having a panic attack is if you're a person of boldness. Now, boldness is not the same thing as reckless. Boldness is not the same thing as just being an idiot, right? Boldness means that you do hard things, that you do things that scare you even while you're scared. We teach our 5 kids that the definition of courage is to do what is right even while you're afraid. Courage doesn't mean that you're not afraid. Courage means that you do what's required while you feel the afraid feelings that everybody else feels. Average people do average things, get average results, live average lives. They go quietly into the night and no one ever hears about them again. If you're trying to really make a ripple in the universe and in your community and change your own family tree, it requires boldness. And again, it doesn't mean reckless. It doesn't mean indiscriminate decision-making based on no data, right? You want to be sharp and tactful and, wise as a serpent, but as innocent as a dove, as the Bible says. But boldness is required. And if you have not done things that scare you in a really long time, you should be very concerned going into the recession, because it's going to require you step out, you market harder. There's all kinds of things that you're going to need to shift your mindset on and step into that next level of yourself. You have to behave like a high achiever before you are one. You have to behave like an affluent person before you are one. You have to behave like a good leader would behave, so that eventually you can become one. And that requires boldness, the way you show up in team meetings, the way you show up to your family, the way you correct your kids. Do you fly off the handle, or do you step into the uncomfortable realm of getting on their level and really, really trying to change the way that they think and trying to coach and level them up in a different way? Because if you're just reactive all the time, you're going to have a really hard road to hoe with your business, with the recession, with the economy, with everything, or with your family. Don't be reactive, be proactive, and be bold. The fourth way you can tell if you are going to crush it during the recession is if you are a person who can manage your emotions. Now, people have emotions because they're human. And I don't think suppressing all of your emotions is necessarily a good idea. But I will tell you this: if you have an unbridled set of emotions that just burst out anytime you feel the feels, you're going to have a hard time. Like I said a few minutes ago, the recessions don't create failure, they expose failure. And what's going to happen, you're going to see it all over the internet. You're going to see it with your competitors. You're going to see it everywhere in the news headlines, people having meltdowns, complaining that everything was taken away from them, that opportunity has been pulled out from under them, that they've been victimized by circumstance and victimized by the government, and boo-hoo for them, when the truth is that they did not set the table for themselves. They did not prepare in advance. And when they get knocked down and you capitalize on that opportunity, they're going to feel really bad about it. Their emotions are going to become unhinged. They're going to have depression, and they're going to get angry, and they're going to start blaming people. There's going to be inner conflict with companies, and they're going to start playing the blame game. And it's an infinity loop of a nightmare circus of destruction. And these are all good opportunities for you. I'm sad that that's true, but it just is true. So how do you manage your emotions, and what can you do right now to get a grip on it? How are you showing up when you lead your team? How are you showing up when you go to sales appointments? Will you get more no's when the economy slows down? Probably. But what are you going to do to compensate for that so that it doesn't affect you at all? So it's like water rolling off the duck's back. What are you going to do right now to prepare your mind, not just to be bold and all the things that we talked about, but to manage your emotions? You cannot be dictated by the way that you feel. You have to build a strategy, commit to the strategy, and execute imperfectly over and over and over. The people that have the biggest stamina, the people that can go the hardest and go the longest without having a panic attack, nervous breakdown, they almost can't lose, right? Most people quit right before they get the record deal because their emotions cause them to. You've heard stories about bands that quit the band right before the record deal, or you hear stories like Hootie and the Blowfish, how they newspapered their office with all the rejection letters from all the labels. The recession that's coming, no matter what kind of small business you have, is going to give you the opportunity to take these failures and coat your wall in them. But you can also turn up the volume, increase the asymmetry and the creativity of how you get your message out there, and have the stamina required, manage your emotions, hold it together, and absolutely change your life. It's going to be epic. And the fifth way that you can tell if you're going to crush it during a recession, and certainly not the last but not the least, is to be an asymmetrical marketer, or really just to be a marketer in the first place. You see, good people are the quietest marketers. Don't be quiet, be loud, be a loud marketer, and get louder and louder as the recession gets more and more intense. People are going to shrink back. You're going to do the opposite. If you can learn how to train your eyes and your ears to notice opportunity, it's like being red-pilled, like Neo in the Matrix, okay? Once you understand there's opportunity literally everywhere, you're not living in fear, you're managing your emotions, you're stepping out in boldness, right? You're doing all these things. The world becomes your oyster, my friend. It's epic, but marketing is everything. Really, if a business is struggling, whether there's a recession or not, it only boils down to three core reasons. I call it the atomic marketing playbook. And the first one is that you're not noisy enough. Like I said, really good people market the quietest because they overthink. Do you overthink? Are you a chronic overthinker? Tell me, in the comment, if you're an overthinker like me, I know that you are because I am you, okay? Don't do that. Be noisy. Parade your elephant like P.T. Barnum. Just open a tab on Google and check that out. Interesting story about the elephant with Mr. Barnum. But the point is, One way to get an automatic competitive advantage is to be noisier simultaneous to when people are becoming quieter. You don't have to shrink back. You can shout from the rooftops with your double megaphones even louder as other people are panicking and shrinking back. So the Atomic Marketing Playbook is noise, nuance, and offers. I think in a different video, I'll talk about the nuance side of asymmetrical marketing and the offer side. But for now, just remember, if you want to crush it during a recession, you got to be competitive. You got to be hungry. You got to refire up the fire in your belly. You have to be bold. You have to manage your emotions. And last but not least, you have to be a savage marketer. See you in the next video. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you watched, click the video on the left to watch the previous upload. And if you want one of my personal favorites, click the video on the right. And of course, don't forget to hit the middle to subscribe so you never miss an upload. Thank you again for being on this journey with me.